I'm going to read the story.
From Kafka on the Shore to 1Q84, Haruki Murakami is a master storyteller.
I have three things to help me: the cat, and the books, and the music.
This man turned into an international phenomenon. Whether you're a diehard fan or new to his work, this might be the right video for you. Let's talk about the author himself, the right reading order separated into target audiences, important things you gotta know, and also music and films related to him. So grab a cup of coffee, put on some jazz, and welcome to the ultimate Haruki Murakami guide. Born in Kyoto, Japan in 1949, Murakami's journey as a writer is as unconventional as his novels. It was back in 1978 when he was sitting in the Jingu Stadium watching a baseball game between the Yakult Swallows and the Hiroshima Carp. An American player named Dave Hilton came to bat. When he was hitting a double, Murakami was struck by a thought. You know what? I could try writing a novel. Today, he says, I still remember the wide open sky, the feel of the new grass, the satisfying crack of the bat. Something flew down from the sky at that instant, and whatever it was, I accepted it. So he returned home and started to work on his first book, Hear the Wind Sing. Before Murakami became a literary sensation, he ran a jazz bar in Tokyo with his wife, Yoko. It's no wonder his books often have a rhythm that feels like the soft, smooth flow of a jazz improvisation. His characters move through life as if they're in a dream, or meeting talking cats, mysterious women, or parallel worlds. Since 1978, Murakami has released more than 35 books. And one of the most common questions online is, where shall I start reading Haruki Murakami? Of course, you can now make recommendations and name the most popular books. But we all know the problem. Everyone has their own taste, which is probably also influenced by what they have enjoyed reading in the past. And what if you recommend the wrong book? What if the start goes wrong and you don't want to read anything else by that author afterwards? Haruki Murakami is a very versatile author who often deals with similar themes and symbols and characters, but still offers a wide range of material. That's why I've prepared two guides here that might make it a little easier to get started. Let's separate our audience in two groups. I don't like separation, but everyone's taste is different. The more grounded readers that like to read realistic, very humane stories without any magic behind it, and as a second guide, the more extraordinary stuff, books that contain a lot of dreamy themes and metaphysics. But be warned before you read Murakami that there often is no logical explanation for the things happening in the books. He is known for his reclusive nature, and interviews are rare. Things in his books often happen because they are just happening, and this, my friends, grants a lot of space for interpretations. Now, without further ado, let's start with the reading guide. Many readers prefer to read his books in chronological order, and of course you can do that. But I wouldn't prefer it that way because his first two books, Hear the Wind Sing and Pinball 1973, have a lot of flaws. Murakami himself even says that he wouldn't prefer them himself, and he even tried to block the publications. In the end, they have been released, and this is still good because they have their moments. We will dive into them later. For now, let's start the guide for our more grounded readers, and this is the order I would recommend to you. First up is Norwegian Wood. This novel catapulted Murakami to fame in Japan and beyond. It's a coming-of-age story set in the 1960s. Follow Toru Watanabe as he navigates love, loss, and the trials of growing up. Also, characters like Naoko and Midori are among the fan favorites. I really like the book because it has that nostalgic feeling of something you might never have witnessed on your own. On top of it, there's a movie adaptation from 2010. Well, I don't know if you like it, but in my opinion, it's a bit heavy. You better find out yourself. Now, the next book could also be the first choice if you prefer more double-layered characters and need something set in the adult life. I would even say that this should be number 1, but chose to put Norwegian Wood at first because it has so many fans and is often the start for many other readers. So I just put my personal feelings aside and rely on all the readers that say Norwegian Wood should be the first book. Next we have South of the Border, West of the Sun. This is a tale of love and regret where we meet Hajime, a successful jazz bar owner who reunites with his childhood friend Shimamoto. As they reconnect, Hajime grapples with the choices he's made and the life he's built. It's a story that tugs at the heartstrings, perfect for those reflective moments. Then we have Sputnik Sweetheart. This is the story of Kei, a schoolteacher who is in love with his best friend Sumire. Sumire, however, falls for an older woman named Miu. When Sumire goes missing in Greece, Kei is drawn into a search that challenges his understanding of love and connection. And this book slowly touches themes of magical realism without being too fantasy-like. So this is a great opportunity for those who are unsure whether they will like the more crazy Murakami stuff and to get a slight feeling for it. In the end, it's a lyrical exploration of unrequited love and the mysteries of the human heart. Let's go on. After Dark. In After Dark, we spent one night in Tokyo from midnight to dawn. The novel weaves together the stories of various characters, including a 19-year-old girl named Mari and her sister Eri, who has been in a deep sleep for 2 months. It's a moody, atmospheric read that captures the pulse of the city that never sleeps. This one is really a hidden gem, and for me always an honorable mention if people talk about his books. Murakami shows how versatile he is, and even as he is often being criticized for being repetitive, he clearly just proved that he is able to shift his narration style, and that at a very high age. After Dark has been released in 2004, and it's written like a movie script. And finally, there's Colorless Tsukuru Tazaki and His Years of Pilgrimage. This novel follows Tsukuru, a man haunted by the sudden rejection of his close group of friends during his youth. Years later, he seeks for answers on why his friends abandoned him. It's a story about friendship, betrayal, and the quest for self-understanding. These 5 novels are perfect for readers who want to experience Murakami's storytelling without the surreal twists. Each one goes on a deep dive into human emotions and relationships, and this is all wrapped in the elegance of Murakami's prose. Now, let's enter the more magical and surreal works and view the list. So, are you ready to dive into the surreal and fantastic realms of Haruki Murakami? So buckle up, because this list will take you on a journey where reality bends and imagination knows no bounds. Here are some of his most magical and surreal novels that will transport you to worlds beyond your wildest dreams. First up is Kafka on the Shore. This novel combines the stories of Kafka Tamura, a 15-year-old runaway, and Nakata, an elderly man who can talk to cats. Their ways cross a mysterious path, with fish falling from the sky and a surreal library playing pivotal roles. It's a mind-bending journey through metaphysical landscapes and human connections. And it is maybe the most famous and one of the most favorite books for every Murakami fan. Next we have Hardboiled Wonderland and the End of the World. In Hardboiled Wonderland and the End of the World, Murakami takes us on a dual narrative journey. One part of the story follows a Calcutech in a dystopian Tokyo who encrypts data in his mind, while the other part explores a dreamlike town where shadows are detached from their owners. This novel is a fascinating blend of science fiction and fantasy, exploring themes of consciousness and identity. Then we have the Wind-Up Bird Chronicle. This epic tale follows Toru Okada, who sets out to find his missing wife. His search leads him to a series of bizarre encounters and hidden histories, from a psychic prostitute to a haunted well. This novel delves deep into the subconscious, blending reality with dreamlike sequences and metaphysical musics. Now, if you were able to finish the extensive chronicles of the Wind-Up Bird, the next one should be no problem for you. 1Q84. 1Q84 is a mammoth novel that weaves together the lives of Aomame, a fitness instructor with a secret mission, and Tengo, a writer embroiled in a literary conspiracy. Set in an alternative reality resembling 1984, this story features little people, air chrysalises, and parallel worlds. I know you get no idea what I'm talking about, but it's a labyrinthine narrative that keeps you guessing until the very end. Then we have A Wild Sheep Chase. Published in 1982, A Wild Sheep Chase is the story that really put Murakami on the map, both in Japan and international. It's the third book in the so-called Trilogy of the Rat, but don't worry, you can enjoy it without having read the previous two. Our journey begins with an unnamed protagonist, an ordinary guy from Tokyo whose life takes a bizarre turn when he uses a photo of a mysterious sheep with a star-shaped birthmark in an ad campaign. This sets off a chain of events that leads to a surreal quest across Japan. Along the way, he encounters the Sheep Man. Here, Murakami mixes elements of detective fiction, magical realism, and existential musings. Die-hard fans might criticize me now for putting A Wild Sheep Chase at the end of this order. And trust me, I love the book because it is Murakami to the fullest. But maybe this is the exact reason why newbies might feel deterred, because it is just as it is. As I told you, A Wild Sheep Chase is part of the Red Trilogy. The trilogy consists of Hear the Wind Sing, Pinball 1973, and the third part, which is A Wild Sheep Chase. You can read them independent from each other. There's also an independent fourth part called Dance, 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 which I highly recommend if you are through these 5 books I've mentioned. These novels are perfect for readers to embrace the surreal and otherworldly aspects of Murakami's storytelling. Each book offers a unique experience where the lines between reality and fantasy blur, and the unexpected awaits at every turn. At this moment, I am waiting for your comments. Let me know if you remember your reading order, if you would agree to mine, or if you would have a total different one. Now you might ask yourself what could be a good way to read Murakami. So here are some tips from my side. Grab yourself a coffee or tea. If you have a cat, cuddle it. Cats are an important part of his books. Go on Spotify and put on one of these playlists and start reading. Music is an important part in his books, but I'm not talking about jazz only. Murakami also mentions a lot of orchestral and classical tracks, as for example Janacek's Sinfonietta in 1Q84. And before you would need to write down all the tracks he mentions in his books, just simply go online and choose one of these lists. This will get you in the right mood. Now we also have some movie adaptations. I have mentioned Norwegian Wood before, which has many flaws. But there are also some masterpieces. For example, Burning from 2018. This is a short story adaptation of Barn Burning, which you can read in his short story collection The Elephant Vanishes. It's a slow burner, but with many subtle and thrilling scenes. Every actor, especially Steven Yeun, kills it here. This is a must-watch. Then we have Drive My Car from 2021. A freaking masterpiece. Hands down, one of the best movies in the past 5 years. This is as well a short story adaptation, which can be read in Men Without Women. There are also movies called Tony Takitani, which is wonderful. Blind Willow Sleeping Woman, and watch this, because here I talk to the director. Hear the Wind Sing, which is available on YouTube, or the short film A Girl She Is 100%, also on YouTube. Same for the short film Attack on the Bakery. There's also an adaptation of All God's Children Can Dance, one of the short stories in After the Quake. On my channel, I have put together a list of movies that you could watch if you like the vibe of Murakami's books. These lists are from 2022, and I've added some more on my Instagram page. So if you like this video, please be sure to subscribe here and also to follow me there. Now, there are some more things you gotta know. Murakami has some newer novels that perish among all these masterpieces, even if they are really, really good. Therefore, I would also like to recommend Killing Commendatore, which was my very first Murakami ever. And then we have The City and Its Uncertain Walls. The City and Its Uncertain Walls is going to get released in English in November. We in Germany were lucky to get the translation quite early. Here you can watch my review and don't be afraid, it's absolutely spoiler-free. Before we end this, let's put together some things you should know about your future favorite author. Murakami is an avid runner. He has his running and writing routine which he strictly follows. After he has released Norwegian Wood, he was hyped as a romantic author and mainstream media was set to make him a star. He couldn't handle the hype and flee to Italy for a certain time. His next book then was Dance, 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 something that is the exact opposite of Norwegian Wood, and the book he could just let his creativity and frustration flow. He also caused an outrage in a German TV show about literature. The hosts were arguing that his language in south of the border, west of the sun was horrible, and it caused one host to leave the show while others offended it. More on it here. The story of Tony Takitani came into his mind while visiting Hawaii. He saw a shirt with the name on it, and no one could tell him who this Tony Takitani guy was. So he wrote a fictional story of the man which has been featured in Blind Willow, Sleeping Woman, and was finally adapted into a movie. There are tons of interesting information and trivia you can find about him. Maybe we should feature them in another video. Now I hope that I was able to make Murakami more accessible for you. If you liked it, if you like his works, and if Japanese literature is something you would like to discover more deeply, I can definitely recommend the works of Sayaka Murata, Yoko Ogawa, or Mieko Kawakami. And now, let's unleash the comments. Write everything down that is on your mind. Recommend books, films, other authors. Let's talk here. I'm really looking forward. Please feel free to watch my other videos as I have more stuff here like reviews, podcasts, documentaries, or atmospherical videos. Thanks for watching. Please take good care of yourself and never stop reading. See you soon on Haruki Murakami Art.